As we reflect on the approaching anniversary of the unrest on State Street, AJ Bayatpour caught up with some of the people who were in the middle of those tense days, either leading the protests or policing them, or simply swept up in it and forced to react.
State Street now more closely resembles its pre-pandemic appearance in terms of foot traffic. For Miyar Maktabi and Dubai Restaurant, surviving 2020 might have been made possible by one night in early June.
I maybe believe in myself a little bit.
In a moment that gained national attention, Maktabi's use of a sword to defend the restaurant brought a desperately needed boost in traffic.
The support that I got after that night was unbelievable. Like, I'm straightforward, it was unbelievable.
To this day, Maktabi says customers asked to take a picture posing with that sword. The feelings are more complex for M. Adams, the leader of Freedom Inc. and one of the more prominent protest leaders during the near-daily demonstrations. Adams says the murder conviction of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd was a milestone.
We demanded and the system conceded. So I'm extremely proud.
For Adams, reflecting on the Derek Chauvin verdict and then seeing the reminders of what happened here last summer, it brings about three emotions: hope that things might be getting better, worry that it will instead bring about complacency,
That for some people, they think enough was done.
and then curiosity, just to see what ends up happening.
What will Madison do? Will Madison just try to go back and restore what it was before?
Adams and other protesters were often at odds with Madison police last summer. The chief at the time, Vic Wall, describes it as threading a needle, as protesters accused police of being too heavy-handed with the use of force, such as tear gas, while others felt police sometimes did not act quickly enough to stop the destruction of people's businesses. What, if anything, do you wish you would have done differently on your end?
You have large crowd dynamics, intermixing protected First Amendment rights with violence and disorder and unrest. There isn't just an easy answer for policing those things.
Wall says MPD is still awaiting the results of an outside review assessing how the department handled the 2020 protests. What is already clear, he and Adams fundamentally disagree on the long-term role of police in a community.
We use those same resources, and I mean the money, and I also mean culture, right? So I think even repurposing people who are police, right, and training them to have a different role in society.
Who's responsible for, in the case of a homicide, doing justice for that victim? Who's responsible for finding those suspects? And so if you just focus on violent crime and significant crime, there isn't anyone other than the police that's in a position to do that.
There are no simple answers, but Maktabi believes his story shows people can change. He points to one of those would-be looters coming back to apologize.
He was just like, Mac, Miyar, I was one of those people who made damage. And we didn't know.
He believes there can be progress if we remain willing to meet at the table. In Madison, AJ Bayatpour, 27 News.
Former acting chief Vic Wall is now an assistant chief. He says Madison police hope to get the findings of that full outside review by the end of the summer.